Hello, sacred souls. My name is Susanna, and I'm on the shamanic path. I got into it 20 years ago and then didn't practice it too actively until last year when a lot of things started happening in my life, and I ended up incorporating some witchcraft aspects for protection and connected with ancestral teachers through shamanic journeying. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that have worked for me, since I'm an empath, a physical empath who can get really physically sick from the negative energies and the evil force around us and the demons, evil beings, and so on. And I know a lot of other people have been having the same issues, just struggling with energy and not feeling well, being drained and whatnot. And it really is a daily practice. I do a little protection ceremony for myself every night. So I brought my tray. I don't have a set altar. I have a tray that I move to different places where I want to be. And I have the 4 elements there. I forgot my little figurines because I usually have the eagle, buffalo, wolf, and bear as well as little figurines, but I forgot those, sorry. But I have air, earth, fire, and water, and the order here actually came to me based on those animals, because the eagle's in the east, the buffalo in the south, the wolf in the west, and the bear in the north, because like for many years I've been practicing native spirituality, which is the basis that I built on. And it came to me, like it was taught to me in a ceremony that I needed to arrange the elements according to those animals. So the eagle is in the air, so the air is in the east. The buffalo is like where there's lots of land, so the earth has to be where the buffalo is, in the south. Then I'm going to talk about this one first because then it makes more sense. The bear also fishes in water, so that's why the water is assigned to the bear. And finally, the wolf howls to the moon. And the moon, especially a full moon, also has light, and since I always use a small round candle, that to me is similar to the moon, so it makes sense. And since the fire is my element, I sit where the fire is. And now I'm gonna try to light it, but it's a bit windy, so hopefully I can actually get it going, because then I add some candles in the middle as well. And I'm just gonna, sorry, the wind's coming from the direction of the camera, but yeah, I got it going. Okay. So then, bit by bit, as I was struggling, I actually watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and I have to give a special shout out to the Witch of Wonderlust, which was my most important teacher in the introduction to witchcraft. And then also BehatiLife. She has amazing teachings on how to get rid of spells, curses, and hexes, and to protect yourself really well. So that's my little thank you, especially to them, because they have taught me a lot. And since I'm a bit of a loner in my practice, and I come from both sides of my family, from a line of witches, like I'm a hereditary witch, except for generations it wasn't practiced on either side, so I had to do it through ceremonies and through dreams and a lot of other things, just signs that suddenly pop up, and I suddenly have these inner knowings of something has to be done. So I learned that I always have to keep a fire going. Now IKEA is great. These ones just went up $1, which unfortunately I dislike. But anyhow, they used to be $1.99, now they're $2.99 in Canada. I don't know what the US prices are. And these ones are still $1.79, but they're not always available. And before Christmas they had red ones, but they don't anymore. So I actually made my own out of leftover wax in a pop can and then peeled the metal off. So it doesn't look that great, but hey, it's a lot cheaper than always going to the spiritual store. He has these in all different colors. I love these candles. They're a bit high, like I'm a bit more worried about tipping over, but they're almost 12 bucks, like 11 something and then plus tax. So yeah, I don't always treat myself to those. I sometimes go the cheaper route. I also melt down the black wax and make candles like these, but I didn't have much left, so I had to get a new one there. So I'm gonna use these, and basically the white one is for healing light, so that there's always a pillar of light, of healing light with you, and I actually keep them burning constantly. And when I go out, they go into my shower because I don't have a bathtub now. And today, actually, I started feeling a bit odd earlier, and then I realized the white candle had gone out, so I had to light a new one. So it's actually amazing. Once you get more into it, it's just, there are things happening that, yeah, a lot of people who believe in science just wouldn't. Like, you can, oh, of course now the light went out, so I probably won't be able to show you a proper ceremony the way I do it, but I'll talk you through it, because there are even like scratches sometimes. I've actually had some pretty violent evil attacks, and then stuff starts happening where wax spills all over the place, or like suddenly it gets scratched up like here. So it's been interesting. But I have some tools, and oh, I don't know where my other little, oh yeah, here. So I actually started out by trying to connect with my Celtic ancestry. So, oh sorry, I forgot to finish explaining the candles. So the white one is for healing light, the red one for unconditional love, and the dark one, preferably black, but can't always, like here it's just on the outside, to pull evil out. Okay, so to get rid of it. And then I started actually experiencing something where I was kind of energetically between my two older half-sisters who weren't talking to each other. I was put in a situation after my dad's passing where I was sort of like, well, stuck in between them. And my one sister was throwing some really evil, resentful energies towards the other one, but I caught all of it, and it was so violent. Like, stuff started breaking around me, technology went haywire, and all sorts of stuff. So from that experience, I've learned to actually pull those evil, I call them energy demons, kind of like shadows of unresolved emotional trauma out. Like, I actually ask all evil, darkness, and low vibrational energies and beings, or sometimes I have another one where I go all negative, evil, demonic, and satanic energies, powers, forces, spirits, and beings, all demons, evil serpents, evil reptiles, evil dragons, and the devil shall be pulled out of her. And then I kind of have them, and then I actually stab them and cast them into the fire, which is my element. And from there, I have an understanding with the spirit of fire that if possible, they are sent into the light for healing and then back to source. But if not, they get sent back to hell. And yes, I know we still live in a dualistic world for now. So they will be sent there, and they will be sealed in there. I kind of created this thing of like locked in, right? Like gone, and the circle of protection around that, and it's done, right? So basically, they will be sealed in there until they're ready to go into the light. And from how I've been guided, and also things that I've learned, eventually all these evil spirits and beings and demons, etc., will be living in their own world, which is just them. So, like, to me, that is hell, like kind of like a temporary solution until they have their own world just for them. So, and then sometimes when I pull it out, I can also like actually chop off the head. I've actually gone through a really traumatic experience in my workplace last year where I was bullied, harassed, and discriminated against without end, based on my medical situation, asking for accommodation for a different mask and with the whole COVID thing. And as I was going through that, I went through the union, the equity team, and every step of the way I could feel the evil. And then one day I actually passed a street called Demonville 3 times in one day. And then in the evening when I went for a walk, there was a sign of a construction company, Demon Ford. And I was like, thank you, universe. Yes, I'm actually not dealing with normal human beings. I'm dealing with demons. So since then, I realized like now I'm a light warrior, right? So that's why like at nighttime, I fight demons in my home. And I live alone, so there's no one in danger, but I also would never ever use that against any person. So anyhow, it's been an interesting journey. So this definitely helps me a lot. I've been guided also. They're just blowing away. I have eagle feathers. So when I connect with the spirit of the eagle, I often like hold them or like kind of touch myself with the feathers to connect with the energy more, also for protection. And then I do a little sort of mini shamanic journeying just to connect with the spirit of the eagle more and ask for protection, guidance, because he's the messenger of the creator. And that's also basically all of these things together have helped me a lot. Then I have a buffalo horn, which I sometimes even hold up against my third eye. By the way, this I put up because my third eye was constantly bombarded. And first I put a black stone, I think it was an onyx, and now I switched to amethyst. So, oh wow, this kind of echoed. So since I started doing this, especially in my ceremonies, I find it helps a lot. But also when I'm out and about and I don't want to wear this, I put peppermint essential oil on my third eye, and that also gives temporary relief when I'm being bombarded and I can't get rid of it right away. Now, I do my ceremony super late at night. Like I start around midnight or so and finish at like 3 in the morning or something. So I just quietly blow through this. Like you can't really hear it unless you're right next to it with your ear. I'm not good at it at blowing it with the sound, because I don't usually do it, and I've never played the trumpet. I will try, but don't laugh, please. Well, actually, maybe you will. Okay, so my apologies. I've had other friends try who are much better at it, but that's okay. Not everyone is perfect at everything, right? Then for the wolf, I put it away. I actually have wolf teeth, but I forgot them at home, and I have a little staple remover that's kind of like, right? So the idea is, and I often just do it with my hands now because I've actually simplified a lot of my stuff, to just pull out anything bad, right? So you're pulling it out. And I find, even though the spirit of the bear is actually my power animal, the buffalo has given me tremendous strength at confronting problems and issues and situations and bullying people and so on. And I'm still working on some of them, but nobody's perfect, right? And the wolf has been a great ally because every day I need to pull a lot of bad stuff out of myself. And basically what I've learned is I can help myself also by helping others. So whenever I sense something from someone, I pull it out of them and give it into the fire, and I instantly feel the relief, which means they're also doing better, right? So that's my biggest trick to it, rather than just constantly shielding and protecting, and some of the stuff is so strong it still comes through. So for me, I think it makes more sense, since we're trying, like the whole earth is trying to move into 5D, which means we need to globally get rid of all the evil stuff. So if some people around me need help, then I will gladly, release it for them. Then, of course, what I also wanted to mention is, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place. It's my first video, and please excuse my quality. I have not really learned editing or anything yet. I figured I'm gonna learn as I go. But I wanted to put this out there before another few months pass, because I've had this plan for a while. So after I start the ceremony and call in the spirits, Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, the the spirits of my ancestors and the spirits of the ancestors of this land. Then spirit of the eagle, buffalo, wolf, and bear, the 4 elements: air, earth, fire, and water, and all 4 directions, powers of the east, south, west, and north, and my personal spirit protectors, and then also the benevolent powers, forces, spirits, and beings of the universe. I call all of those in, and then I smudge, and I know this looks really funny, but I actually prefer this crappy looking style over this beautiful cauldron that's just heavy and awkward. It's great if you need to actually burn something, like let's say I've, for example, had a stick that looked like a pitchfork, so like for the devil, and I broke it and burnt it, right? So for that it's great. But for everyday use in smudging, I find I just doubled it up, just old tins, and I tried to actually burn away the stuff that was on there, but I didn't do such a good job. On one side it's still visible. If I double it up, then the outer one doesn't get hot, even if the inner one gets really hot, and I smudge it and it burns for a while, and I relight it, and I smudge the circle and myself. I can keep this going and it's fine. I can touch it, no problems. Whereas just one layer gets hot. This one too, like if you burn stuff, not just for smudging, but when you burn stuff a bit longer and it gets a little bigger, it gets really hot. Then I've been guided to have a spirit plate and a drink, but I've actually learned the hard way that it's way more practical for me, living in a tiny apartment, to put it in like a little plastic container with a lid, and then bring it with me when I leave and put it in a park somewhere. And then here's a little bit of apple cider. That's also way easier than the little mini cup I had. That's just less practical, right? So sometimes practicality wins. Then of course, for protection, like in the window, I have my dream catcher and various crystals. I have several crystals like these hanging over the doors and in the windows. And where is I can't find the twine now. I have a twine, which I think fell out on my way here. It's okay, I'll use the wick to demonstrate. What I find extremely useful is actually not magic. So whatever bad stuff I can't just send into the fire where it's really persistent, I actually bind it by nodding and repeating what I need to have done. Let's say, what can we say? That the evil emotional poison of my dentist. This was actually a true occurrence, who actually purposely harmed me. That it gets taken away from her, cast back to hell. I'm doing it in this case. Bound, broken, neutralized, and sealed in there for all eternity. My dentist's evil viper poison shall be taken away from her and me, cast back to hell. Bound there, broken, neutralized, and sealed in there for all eternity. And I repeat that at least 4 times. Like I'm not gonna do it now because I'm not actually doing it properly. I've already done that. And I repeat it 4 times, or if I feel it needs more, then I do more. Sometimes 8, 10, 12. It just kind of depends, right? And then snip it off, flush it down the toilet, and out it goes. And when I drive, I actually make deliveries. I created a little system where I also have a little bell, because I have a song where I ring a bell to seal it in with a bell sound, right? And I do those. Then here I have a bell that's a little louder. This one is super quiet, which I also use at nighttime. And what else do I have here? Yeah, so when I make the deliveries and sometimes I feel stuff, it's interesting. I've noticed whenever I make a delivery and there's a broom sitting right next to the door, I'm like, oh, I need to cleanse myself. And I don't have it with me normally. I just use my hands. But at home, I have this little mini broom, and one of my spirit guides is actually a prehistoric medicine woman who uses the raven energy, so I added that on here. It kind of came a bit loose, I have to re-secure it, but then I basically brush off everything. Try to get the back. I actually kind of do it like this and put it in the fire and ask to have it taken away. Sometimes it gets really heavy duty though, and I have actually also started breaking something when a curse needs to be broken and I felt the other stuff wasn't helping enough. I have actually tried, here it is, I've tried sigils, but for some reason they don't resonate with me. So I encourage you to just try out various different things and just see what works for you and what doesn't. This doesn't really resonate with me. And I'm not really into wands, but I do like this part for the spirit of fire, because like, you know, like a lightning is kind of like fire, right? So I kind of have it more for that. But this I just actually started recently. Black paint or yellow paint. I need to see if I can find something that's a little bit less invasive, but in these tiny bottles, when I need to basically destroy evil, or the yellow that I use that for extreme, spiteful, vindictive attacks. So I actually smash it, right? So I go outside somewhere where no one is, and like it's better if it's somewhere higher up and you can smash it down like 1 or 2 floors, you know, if it's off a bridge or something, and then just smash it with all your might and cast it into the fire or light or hell, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? So I've had to do that, and actually I didn't notice that my shoes still have a tiny bit left. I didn't clean that off well enough, fast enough, so sometimes there are even lasting consequences, but these shoes are getting old anyhow, so I'll probably get rid of them soon anyway. Then I have ceremonial scissors, where I've actually cut ties. So, oh, here it is. Sorry. See, it's my first time, so I guess I am a bit nervous. So, I actually recently had an experience, I'm going to show you that, where it turns out I I was guided to the understanding that I was a slave of that person in an ancient incarnation, and she felt she still had rights over me. So I had to basically free myself from those bonds. But you can also simply just cut a tie by cutting a twine. But I actually did this. I'll show you. Oh, it might be a bit tight. Oh yeah, it's a bit tight. Well, and my hands are getting cold. Oh well, okay. I think I can still get it. So I basically shackled myself, right? Let me see if I can still slip in. Yeah, I can manage to slip in. Okay. And the ones that I had made, oh, this is really tight. The ones that I had made are a little shorter, but then I burnt it over the fire, over the flame, and then cut them open. And, sorry, this one got dirty. See, this doesn't even want to go. I wonder what's going on there. And then I cut it into smaller pieces and burnt it in my mini cauldron to free myself from that. So that was actually an amazing, very powerful experience, and after that it was done. So I would strongly encourage you to listen to whatever inner guidance you have. In the beginning I kept doubting myself, and I've learned to listen more. Not always fast enough, sometimes stuff still happens, but oh well. Sometimes I need more heavy duty cutting, so I even have bigger scissors. Then, what else do